they're idiots and because they don't pay attention. But yes, there is definitely, I mean, we're in the middle of a cultural revolution right now. These fights that we're having, the culture war that we're having, it is a cultural revolution. You can't say that we are in a culture war, but say, no, we're not in a cultural revolution. Because there's the same thing.
Yeah, earlier when Brianna Wu was on the culture war, she said that what's happening with the J6ers holistically is the right direction. And I said, the Proud Boys got 2 decades. Is that justified? And her position was, I did not look at those specific stories, but I think generally it's good. And I said, that is the banality of evil. The question of how do evil acts become commonplace? Because the average person just assumes it's fine or it's the right thing without looking at the individuals who are having their rights violated. There is no circumstance in any sane person's mind where you knock over a temporary barricade and you get 19 and a half years in prison. There is no circumstance in a sane person's mind where you aren't even there and they give you 22 years. Only people who did not pay attention to these cases and don't care or are tribally satisfied by destroying the lives of other people would want these things to be the case.
I'll take it a step further. There's people that I know that I've talked to that think that even just being there, because I've talked about a couple cases that I knew of just, allegorically, that were not even in the Capitol. They didn't even get into the Capitol, but they were just there at what later became the January 6th that they're trying to turn into the next 9/11, that were then investigated by the FBI and were given a temporary ban from DC and a bunch of other stuff. And people have argued in favor of that. They're like, yeah, well, they were there. They should have known what that would become. And I'm over here thinking, like, you are literally there to listen to the then sitting president of the United States speak.
Well, there are people who got fired from their jobs simply because they were in D.C. on January 6th, nowhere near the Capitol.
Well, what's crazy is that even if you were there, even if you were listening to Trump speak there, who was,
Well, but let's clarify, Trump was not speaking at the Capitol.
Right, no, not at the Capitol, but they're in D.C. At a protest. That is literally the First Amendment, is your right to peaceably assemble.
Yep.
That is the First Amendment in the Bill of Rights. Like, that is a very constitutionally protected action. And people are advocating, well, they should have known. Yeah, I fully believe that they should have been targeted for that. Like, that blows my mind that people are even making that argument.
Yeah, there are people who lost their jobs because they were at the Ellipse listening to Trump speak and then went home. And then people were like, whoa, you were in D.C. during January 6th? Don't know, don't care. So there are a lot of people who were in D.C. on that date who did not go anywhere near the Capitol, who have had social repercussions just for that. It just seems to me, I don't know, man, there's no logical argument against this getting worse. And it's an unfortunate thing. I would much prefer to just play Magic the Gathering all day, play poker all day, then go skateboarding, play some music, and not be involved in anything like this. It'd be much better if I did one video per day where I was like, here are the new polling numbers. Donald Trump wants to increase taxes on imports. Ooh.
Last night I thought
chills. But instead,
I was going to message you and be like, I just figured I'd tell you in person. If we win the culture war, it's going to happen in Baldur's Gate.
You mean like we're going to win a video game, but the rest of the world just burns?
Well, what I meant was we'll be streaming online. We'll have 100 million people watching or something like that. Like 10 million people will watch us stream a video game and like see the humanity in us. And like then the politics will become evident and obvious. If they like you, they believe you.
Yeah, the problem is...
I disagree.
There are people like... there's never going to be a degree of influence like that again. Because of the way the internet operates.
I don't know. You got guys like Elon. You got... I don't know. In fact, maybe you're right, but in a way, it might be greater than it ever has been in the history of humanity. The way that one human can rally the rest with the internet.
I don't necessarily know if it's one human, but I do like the idea that now you have the entire information gathering source is open source for the first time. So you're not relying on Walter Cronkite for what America believes. It's very well distributed now. So like there is a chance like that, but I don't think it's going to be one person.
Yeah, it wouldn't be one individual. One person's always the tip of the spear, and then it's just but they're a result of their community.
Yeah.
But really, what that meant, the culture will be won in Baldur's Gate, is that if we continue to try and find a political solution to the military-industrial complex, it will lead us down to failure. There's no way to take power away. I mean,
you need to inspire the masses, and I think that's done through cultural endeavor, scientific endeavor, TV shows, arts and entertainment. And then you get these 6, 9-year-olds, by the time they're 20, they're ready to make something great. They already know, they've been thinking about it their whole lives, and they know how to do it.
Do you need to inspire the masses, or do you need to inspire the 5% of people on the fence that aren't doing anything?
It's fractal, so you only need to inspire a small amount, but then we'll inspire small amounts.
Will inspire small amounts that like it fractals out. So you as an individual probably only need to inspire about 100,000 people, maybe 80,000 people.
Probably the best case I've ever seen for that was Ron Paul. Like the ramifications of what Ron Paul did.
Thank you.
We have
Ron
big
Paul
life-size
created a
posters on
generation of populists, of libertarian populist types. I look at so many of the people who today we talk with who come on the show, and they're all like, whatever their political views are, they're like, oh, I used to watch a lot of Ron Paul. That movement back in 2008 was more influential. I bet you've got uniparty Democrats and Republicans sitting around a room being like, if we just had a time machine, we'd go back and we would not let Ron Paul anywhere near the presidential elections.
Him and Dennis Kucinich was pretty cool.
He was good too. Yeah, he was very good.
And Mike Gravel, I thought those guys were.
And then you ended up with, only a few years later, after Obama, the left and right-wing populist uprising, for which Bernie is too weak to maintain and caved, and Donald Trump, who kicked the doors in.